Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. Welcome along to the wilds of Suffolk. I'm out here yet again doing what I do, walking along in beautiful locations, and today is gorgeous and giving you my thoughts and opinions on things that are happening in the world and the public consciousness. If it's your first time here, welcome. Hope you enjoy what I'm doing today. If you're a returning subscriber, 1,321 of you I think there are today, welcome back. Welcome one and all. I hope you enjoy today's little walk and talk. So today I'm calling this video Optimus Prime, and believe it or not, it's got nothing to do with Transformers, but to do with the priming or the seeding of our consciousness with messages that are designed to keep us in a fear state. I've spoken about this extensively. Fear puts people into a state where they can't make rational decisions. And when you can't make rational decisions, you make poor decisions and you go along with whatever you're being told through this priming mechanism that we are all living through. So, with that in mind, let's get on and have a chat about what I think this means and how we can combat it, what it all relates to, and if you can actually see it. I mean, it's glaringly obvious to me, but as I walk and talk about these things, I still have people coming back to me and saying, what are you talking about? You're a conspiracy theorist, there's nothing going on, which I think is pretty odd. Now, I'm going to try and stay out of the wind as much as I can today because it's quite windy here. We've had days and days and days of rain. As you can see, the storm clouds are still looming in the sky there. So we might have a little bit of a break in the weather. We can actually get some stuff done today, but I'm not making any promises because it's raining all the time here at the moment. And I've seen reports that over in Europe, which is not far away from here, it's record temperatures. Record! Climate change, obviously. It's not record temperatures at all. It's just very hot, as it should be in the summertime. And it's raining here in the UK, as it usually does in the summertime. It's climate change, apparently. Oh, shit. Oh, sorry. I think I must have the Rona again. Now, when I'm referring to Optimus Prime or priming or, the seeding of messages, have a look in the media, have a look around social media, have a look at everything that you're interacting with, coming into contact with, the messaging about everything, We're hearing a lot of reports about World War III. We're hearing a lot of reports about an imminent new cyber attack. We're hearing reports about new viruses that are going to be released. We're hearing reports about UFOs. Remember I spoke about those a bit. Aliens, interdimensional beings, all sorts of things. These messages are primers. They are priming the public for things that they want to have you fearful of or be in a state of not knowing. Now, fear comes from a state of not knowing what's going on or not understanding what's going on. So this is why I do these kind of things. I walk out here and I talk, I give my peace of mind. That's all it is. It's my opinion, and give you a different perspective on how I see the world and what it means and how that relates to what's going on. And then with that information, you can take what information you see in other places, what information I give you, what your own personal perception is, and integrate that and think, what do I see as being truthful? Okay? So that's what this is about. I'm not telling you what the truth is, I'm telling you my opinion of what I see. Okay? Now, all these messages are fear-based. New virus, oh, we're all going to die again. Global boiling. Global boiling. But now, I'm a little bit older than a lot of people. I'm 51 next week. 51 years old. Wow, I never thought I'd get this old. In fact, doctors told me I never would. Boy, were they wrong. And in that time, I've heard a lot of messaging over those years about what's going to happen. And especially with the climate or the weather, and I've been widely lambasted by many people, not mentioning any names. Oh, there's a cow out here in the field. Shall we go and say hello? It's probably a bull. I might get charged by it. But if you look just over there, you'll see it. I'll see if I can get a bit closer. If it does charge as well, I can run faster, hopefully. We'll see in a minute. Now, when I was a kid, there was messaging that we were heading into a mini ice age in the 70s. This was, you know, that's what it means when you're 50 years old. You were born in the 70s. I was born in 72, and in the 70s we had messages of mini ice age. We're heading into a mini ice age, and we needed to. We should all be worried about that, because obviously we can't live. Humanity could never live in those kind of conditions. It's wonderful. Not that humans are adaptable at all in any sort of stretch of the imagination. We can't adapt to anything, even though people live in frozen tundras all over the world. People live in places that are permanently frozen. I can't get any closer because the ground's quite wet, but you see the cows just over here. Anyway, a bit of livestock. Whether that's interesting for you or not, I don't know. But so we were told we were heading into a mini ice age in the 70s, and that we'd run out of oil in the 80s. And then in the 90s it became global warming, that the world was heating up, and we couldn't, this whole idea that, we're getting 2 degrees warmer and that's it, that's the end of the world. Even though in the medieval period, we're told that the global warming thing is so climate change now. We can't call it global warming anymore, even though they're calling it global boiling. So I'm kind of confused with the messaging. That in the medieval period, that is conveniently left off all the modelling that they have. You know, if you go back to the hockey stick model, with the big tick, looks like a big swoosh, big Nike swoosh. Just did it. We just did it. That medieval warm period is conveniently left off the heating tables, because we can't explain that. There was no industrialization, a hell of a lot less people apparently, and we can't explain why it was warmer in the medieval period than it is now. There's no cycles at all. It doesn't go in cycles of warming and cooling on this plane of existence that we live in, this reality, if that's what we're calling it. There's no model that includes that. But all these messages that we've had for decades, I mean, it's been going on for forever and a day. But let's go back into history, shall we? Not my history, because my history is very short in the whole space of this realm that we live in, this reality, if that's what we're calling it. If we go back into history that we're told about, and we learned about the Mayans and the Incas and the ancient civilizations, that some of them disappeared, where they were sacrificing people to ensure their survival. Okay, now this was based around astrological events like eclipses and comets, things like that, so that people who held this knowledge of these astrological events, seers, or people that call themselves seers, or witch doctors, or whatever word we're looking for in that instance, these people that had an understanding of these astrological events, that they would use those astrological events as fear-based tactics to get people to be under their control. So if you were to say, I am all-knowing and all-powerful, and I can tell you right now that in 2020 there will be a a pandemic, not of our making, but it's just going to spontaneously spring up from a bat having sex with a pangolin in a wet market that didn't sell either of them. Even though there's a level 4 bioweapons facility just down the road from where it started, but it's got nothing to do with that. It's a bat and a pangolin. If I was to tell you, if we go back to ancient times, obviously, that if we don't repent, the sun will be covered and turn black, and the day will turn to night, and we need to sacrifice virgins and children so that we can continue our way of life. you know, people who were not of the same understanding, who didn't understand these astrological events, would see it and be like, oh my God, these people have knowledge that I don't. We should listen to them. Maybe I should sacrifice myself on the altar of we're all in this together, or safe and effective, so that we can continue the human race. It's, what do they call it? The, I can't think of the bloody words that they, for the greater good. For the greater good, yes. I should sacrifice myself and my family, my future and my living standards for the greater good. So the people that are passing those messages on are hypocrites, to put it mildly. They're scum, is who they are. They're social engineers and who don't give a fuck about humanity or anybody in it. The whole premise of what they're saying is to continue their control over the people that they're there supposedly to serve. Now, I'll give you an example. I was going to make a separate video about this, but maybe I will. Calling it, can you smell the hypocrisy? I might well do it if I get another chance. I mean, this is a rare opportunity that I get a chance to come out and do a video because I'm working 24/7. So you have people like Bill Gates, that guy, who didn't write a load of code in his life. The original code for Microsoft came from IBM. True story. Same as Mark Zuckerberg never wrote a lot of code in his life. He never coded Facebook. That came from DARPA. That was originally called LifeLog. Look it up. Don't believe me. I'm crazy. But people like Bill Gates, Klaus Schwab, you were Izzabugs at the World Economic Forum, the likes of those kind of scum, right? They put out these messages. Yes, for humanity to survive, we need to reduce the population. Yeah. So who gets to decide who gets reduced? Well, they do, of course, because they're all knowing. They're all powerful. You know, they're wealthy. You know, when people like Bill Gates gets interviewed, and the woman says, "Don't you think it's a bit hypocritical that you're telling people to reduce their carbon emissions while you're flying around in a private jet going to these climate conferences?" And he says, "Well, I spend a lot of money on this, and I buy carbon credits so I can do what I want, basically. Like, I'm wealthy, fuck off." I don't know, to me that sounds a bit like he's talking shit and he's trying to promote a message without actually following through himself. But maybe I'm just cynical and letting my deep disgust of this man cloud my judgment. Maybe there's a possibility. But the hypocrisy surrounding the people that are pushing these messages, that we should all be fearful of the next thing, and what it means. What does it actually mean? I mean, you see all the messages. It's interdimensional aliens in Congress, where they were talking about interdimensional, not alien, no, extraterrestrial. That's interesting. Who's been saying that? I don't know. So, Congress is holding meetings about extraterrestrial craft and aliens, of course. What do they call it? Biologics. Yep, we've recovered biologics and alien craft and then all the climate messages, global boiling. I mean, I work as a chef. It's not who I am, it's what I do for a job. That doesn't define who I am, by the way. But in my job, I work with someone who likes to listen to the BBC radio. Now, the BBC is a propaganda organisation. If you don't know that, then I suggest that you open up your eyes. But believe whatever you want to believe, obviously. But during the course of working and listening to this utter bullshit on BBC, every half an hour they have a news report. What did it open with? The world's oceans are at record temperatures and we're all going to die. Rah, rah. No. This is the BBC, one of the largest and most respected news organisations on the planet, apparently. they're not. Here in the UK, people mock the BBC because it's full of paedophiles. Constantly being revealed. Jimmy Savile worked there for 30 years, and Rolf Harris was another paedophile, worked there as well. There's lots of them. And, in the heads of police, the MI5, MI6, Parliament, of course, full of pedos. Royalty? I don't know. It's pure speculation that the two royal princes, or the one's actually now King Charles, is best friends with Jimmy Savile, and his brother was best friends with Jeffrey Epstein. But that doesn't mean anything. It's just circumstantial. Correlation doesn't equal causation. Guilty by association. We shouldn't be judging people by the people that they associate with, of course. Of course, I don't know any paedophiles, but maybe I'm just not running in the right circles, or the wrong circles, as the case may be. Now, the people that are bombarding us with these messages, including the BBC, now, I wanted to see for myself. Obviously, the BBC is reporting this. The world's oceans are heating up, the global boiling, we're in climate change, blah, 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 all these fear messages. I wanted to see if the BBC, who's promoting all this shit, was actually acting on their own advice and their own news, whether these investigative news reports who are just blatantly repeating back what they're told to repeat by whom, I wonder. Who's giving out those 4 a.m. talking points that need to be pushed through the media every half an hour? Social engineers, perhaps? Not sure. Who can tell? Council on Foreign Relations, maybe? There's lots of groups. Lots of groups of Welcome Trust here as well. All those kind of things, where they're pushing all this messaging that you can be something you're not. Clearly, if you want to be a train, you can be a train. If you want to be an Apache attack helicopter like me, I identify as an Apache attack helicopter, obviously. If you want to be that, then you can be, because you think you can. I think I can. I think it's like the little train, isn't it? The little choo-choo. Now, so the people pushing these messages, like King Charles, well, I've already mentioned him, he's out there going to all the climate conferences, flies in a private jet, which obviously isn't electric and doesn't run on rainbows and unicorn farts. He's flying out to conferences to meet Greta Thunberg, that, 14-year-old, how dare you, or what is she now, 18, 19? Completely clueless. I should be in school. That. Maybe if you'd stayed in school, you'd have learned something about how the fucking world works, you moron. And these messages that are coming through us, through these mediums of the news. Good morning, how are we doing? Lovely day, isn't it? Yes. Better than the rain we've had. Yeah. Have a wonderful day. So the messages that are coming to us through these mediums like BBC and through these people like King Charles and others that are messaging, I wanted to see if they're backing up what they say with what they do. Right? Are they acting like someone who's really worried about the things that they're talking about? Now the BBC, I looked on Google Earth to see how many solar panels or wind turbines the BBC has on their buildings to offset their CO2 use and all the electricity they're using to pump out this propaganda signal into the world. Have they got any at all? Look for yourself. Don't believe me, I'm crazy, remember? Now, King Charles is a prime example. Flies into climate conferences on a private jet with an entourage of many vehicles, none of them electric. How many electric vehicles does King Charles own? All that procession of vehicles that he has whenever he goes anywhere, with security, with people with guns, of course. Well, they want to ban the guns for you and me, but not for them, because they're more important than us. Okay? Oh yes, we're important and we're wealthy, so we need to have people with guns surrounding us. But you peasants, well, fuck you. So he flies into a climate conference with a fleet of vehicles. Well, let's just talk about the World Economic Forum for a moment. Fly into the World Economic Forum, land at the airport, get a helicopter from the airport closer to the meeting, then have a fleet of vehicles, none of them electric, of course, taking you to the conference where you eat roast beef and the highest grade meats and fish from around the world that are flowing in especially for it. even though we're being told that your beef is bad and we should kill all the cows because their farts are destroying their... like, it's preposterous. But these people have they dine on this most extravagant meals. I know. I've cooked for them. I know who they are. I know what they eat. And the ingredients are flowing in from around the world. All right? And then they all go and off to the next conference, do exactly the same thing again, lecturing us how we should live while they're doing exactly the opposite. So the fear messaging that they're saying doesn't match their actions of how they're responding to it. And then if you ask them about it, like John Kerry being asked in the Congress, well, you're talking about all this CO2 and yet you have a private jet. I don't own a private jet, but his wife did. Oh, but now we've sold the private jet. Oh, you're flying on somebody else's private jet now. Oh, that's that's okay. The Obama that was president of the United States, that guy who's married to another dude, Michael, he would know, if anybody would know just how dire the situation is, because they keep on talking about it, dire, the world's in dire straits, we're in dire straits, we're in big trouble. That guy who was president, that Manchurian candidate that maybe wasn't born in America, who can tell? Maybe he is Kenyan. That guy bought a property, $12 million, I think it was, maybe, something like that, from a book deal, of course. And his husband, Michael, who wrote that book, Becoming Michelle Obama. How do you become a woman? He bought a $12 million property at sea level. Does that sound like the actions of someone who's worried about the sea levels rising because all the ice caps are going to... It's utterly ridiculous. But the fear messaging is so entrenched and so powerful. But why? Why are all these messages constantly fearful? Why are we getting all this messaging? We all need to die in order to save the world, blah, blah, blah. Now, I've spoken about it many times before. I believe... Well, you get to decide what you believe. I don't believe that this is reality that we're living in. I believe we're living in a simulation that we can actively influence with our minds, with our speech. I say at the end of every video, we actively influence physical reality, if that's what we're calling it, with our thoughts, our actions, and our speech. Casting spells, you've heard that before, casting spells, where you use words, energy, frequency, vibration, words, how you pronounce those words. Where did the language come from? Now, if you can actively influence this physical reality with words, thoughts, then how real is it? Right? So with the way that we create and manifest and bring what we want into this reality through our thoughts and our actions and our speech and the way that, all those kind of things, the way that we do that manifestation is with our emotional state. So if you're put into an emotional fear state, what is your creation going to look like? You're creating the reality that they're seeding to you through this priming of the message that they're giving you through the media, social media, what's allowed to be shared. You with me? So if the messaging we're getting is designed to be fearful, it's designed to keep you in a fear state and make you poor decisions, then you're going to go along with their creative thought process and what they want to create because you're buying into their version of reality. So you're creating their reality purely by interacting with it, believing it, taking it on as your own. Okay? Now, if we are to believe that this created reality, created reality, didn't just spontaneously pop into existence from nowhere, okay? Because that makes you nihilistic. If you believe that this just is a lucky happenstance that we just happen to be a perfect distance from the sun, everything is mathematically perfect in this reality we experience as reality. Everything is mathematically perfect. Accidentally. Created reality. Now, when I say about creation, people want to take on this whole oh yeah, now you're talking about God, and and again, God, universal consciousness, Brahma, Brahma, or whatever word you want to use. We made up words anyway, okay? Jehovah, whatever words you want to substitute for God, do it. This reality, for what reality is, was and is created. Now, I heard a wonderful talk today. I shared it on Telegram, and I apologise for all those people that want to, or I'll get back to that in a minute. But we are part of this creative process with this God, universal consciousness, whatever you want to call it, doesn't matter. Whatever word makes you feel most comfortable. People don't like the association of the word God with religion. I understand, because you get a whole bunch of paedophile priests. Wonder how they got corrupted. And paedophiles and control mechanisms through the church. So I understand that people don't want to associate this and their belief systems with a God or a church belief system. You don't need to. The original message of the Bible, of people like Jesus or Muhammad, or these prophets, or whatever you want to call them, people in history were trying to pass forward, was that you, in your actions and your words and the way that you interact with this reality, is what is what you're bringing forth into reality. So you have to be an active part in the creation of this, what we want to live in. But when your creative part of that creation is being hijacked through negative messaging, and they know how to do it and they know what they're doing, then it's not your reality that you're creating anymore. Now, how do we combat this? Okay, so it's understanding, first of all, understanding that, I heard a great description today, and it was our DNA, the helix, the double helix, acts as an antenna for non-local consciousness. So however you want to interpret that, God or universal consciousness, doesn't really matter. Your words, whatever makes you feel comfortable. That non-local consciousness is then channeled into you through your double helix spiral DNA, like an antenna, right? Acts like an antenna that allows the consciousness to animate this meat suit that we are currently guiding through this reality. Now, as we're in this game, this simulation, this reality, whatever we're calling it, we are creating through that non-local consciousness. But if that's getting hijacked along the way with negative fear messaging, then it's not our consciousness that's creating. It's the social engineers or AI or who knows what's controlling that message is interfering with that to try and enslave us in their version of reality. So, how do we combat it? We combat it by sharing information that can counter, and talk about information that can counter the negativity and the fear-based scaremongering that is going on a daily basis. So, I have been doing these videos for 3 years now, talking about lots of different subjects and how they interlink together to form a picture of the way that we're being manipulated and guided on this journey by people who don't have our best interests at heart, who want to enslave us to maintain their way of life while our standard of living is constantly going down and costing us more of their money to do so. Now, I had a message from someone I'll be speaking to a bit later today, and this is where I apologise. I apologise to all the people that tune in here to understand that the reason, one of the reasons I started this channel was to talk to people wherever they might be in the world, to say, hey, you're not alone. I interact with people all the time, and And the usual message I get back is, what do we do? You know, there's no one around me that is on the same wavelength. Everyone is believing the nonsense that they hear or see or read. And I'm losing friends and family members because of my belief system, that they don't believe what I believe. You know, damn it, Neo, damn it, Morpheus, not everyone believes what you believe. My beliefs do not require you to. So what do you do? How do you combat that? You know, and that's the hard part, is trying to share a message that you know is there to help people. You know, trying to share information and truth and, you know, just information that can help your friends and family, but they don't want to listen because they are trapped in this feedback loop, this matrix that has them trapped in a fear-based reality that is designed to enslave them. How do you share that information with people without having the, oh, you're a conspiracy theorist, you're an idiot, don't be so stupid? How do you combat that? Now, I used to argue with people. I still, you know, I still get angry at what is being done to us. I do. I get angry about it because it's just, it's frustrating to me that people can't see what I see, even though I'm sharing these things with them, even though I'm talking to them, and I'm trying to do so in a nice manner. But it's hard. It is really hard. But I found the best way to get through is to continue on with your messaging, but don't ram it down people's throats. Okay? The same way that gay and lesbian people or trans people, you know, they want to live their own life. But if you try and ram it down someone else's throat, they're going to push back on you. Same as anything. You know, if you're a conspiracy theorist and you're sharing conspiracy type stuff, you have to understand that people aren't going to be readily accepting that because it's not widely accepted by the general populace. And if it's not widely accepted by the general populace, good luck trying to get the message. But keep on sharing the message in a way that you're not arguing with people, because it doesn't help. It doesn't work. I know, I've done it. I yelled at people, I screamed at people, I said stern words, I've had death threats, I mean, you name it. It's ridiculous. You can only do what you can do. Share the message, but you have to accept that people around you are not going to believe everything you say. In fact, people around me think I'm insane, like completely insane. They do. They think I'm nuts. You know, there's special squads that monitor the internet and what content's been put out there. I think here in the UK is an army division called Unit 77, something like that, Squad 77. It monitors all internet interactions. So they know who I am. You know, I'm probably on every watch list there is to be on. You know, not because I'm dangerous, not because I'm violent at all, but because I dare to share information that counters a narrative that is not beneficial to anyone except the people who are sharing it. So, with that in mind, I don't want to keep you too long today because I know your time is precious and mine is too. This is the day that I can get things done. Doesn't always work out that way that I get a chance to get things done, but today is one of those days, and I wanted to share a part of my life with you to show how important you are to me, and that you're not alone. We're not alone. You're going to have a lot of people around you that don't agree with you. It is what it is, and you can only do what you can do in your circle of influence. Share information that you think is going to help people, and understand that you're going to have pushback on the information you're going to share. But as people start to see, and their lives personally start to get impacted by decisions that are made by other people, you know, like having an experimental thing stuck in them, and then they start getting sick and their loved ones start getting sick around them and dying, the information that you've shared will resonate with them. Even if they don't want to admit it, it will still be there in the back of their mind, like a splinter in your mind, telling you that something's wrong. And then when you realize that, you can use the same priming techniques with those friends and family and loved ones around you, the same as being used on everyone, but in the opposite way. So just like in Inception, I've talked about that a lot, you plant a seed. Well, what about this? Ask questions of the people around you. Well, okay, so you believe that Bill Gates is a good guy and he has your best interest at heart? Yeah? So what does he do? What does he tell you? Does he follow the same advice that he's giving to you? He's telling you he wants to reduce the world's population. Who gets to choose which part of the population gets reduced? Does that sound like a good person to you? ask questions like that, and ask questions that will make them answer their own question. Because if you go to a psychologist or psychiatrist, what do? They get you to talk, and then they ask you questions to get you to answer your own questions. Because when you tell someone something, it doesn't mean anything. But when it comes from them, then it makes them go, ah. Now, I watched personally waking up my wife. We've been married for a long time now. We've been together 23 years. And some of you saw that picture that I posted on Telegram where it was me and my wife and the rabbit and the chicken. That's our life, and the vegetable garden in the background. I personally woke up my wife, and for her it was the most extreme, hardcore experience that I've had to see someone go through. She cried for a week when she came to realise what was going on and what had been done to the world, and how it was being done. And now she's fully on board. And for me, I'm so fortunate that I have that support from my wife and some friends around me. Not too many of my friends, but there's some friends around me that support me, don't fully understand or agree with everything that I say, but they still support who I am and that it's my truth that I'm sharing. A lot of people don't have that. And if you don't, recognize that there are people maybe a little bit further afield from your direct influence, but there are people out there that are with you, like me. And as much as I'd like to interact with everyone a lot more than I am, I can't at the moment because I'm so busy setting things up. Vegetables, work, children, family, all those kind of things that we're tied up with, especially now, the cost of living crisis. Understand that there are people further afield that are there to listen to you and interact with, just to help and support you. There's lots of groups. The Red Pill Project guys over there are awesome. If you haven't seen it, I'll leave a link in the description below. There's lots of people online that are talking about things. Join those groups and be part of the communities, because it will lift you up and buoy your spirits, because it's hard to do things on your own. And if you have to do it on your own, you're going to falter. And you're going to doubt yourself, and you're going to be like, oh, am I right about this? Is it really the way that I think it is? Or am I just being crazy? Understand you have support around you. There are lots of people that see it, and the message that we're getting through the media is that everybody believes the same thing. It's not true. So, with that in mind, take a breath, go for a walk in the woods, go out to beautiful places, and reconnect with what this world is supposed to be and what you want to make it. Because if you don't have your own vision, you always fall for somebody else's. So, with that in mind, go out into the world, do good, and be good. And you can change the world with your thoughts, your actions, the way that you speak, the way that you interact with people, and what you're sharing. So let's create a better world together by doing that. Let's not buy into the fear campaign and buy into their version of reality, because that's creating their reality that enslaves us and frees them for them to live a life that we can never live, because it's designed to enslave us. So go out, do that. But most important, look after yourself and look after each other. Thanks very much for taking the time to watch me. I really appreciate it. And, like I say, I apologise for not being around much, but it is what it is. There's nothing I can do about it. I just have to do what I do and understand that when I can, I will give you my time and my energy. And it's going to have to be good enough, because if it's not, well, then there's other people out there that are willing to talk every day and have the ability to talk every day. I'm not doing this for money. I'm not doing it for anything other than to try and share a message that counters the narrative that we're being fed. So it's up to us all. What are you going to do? All right, thanks for your time. Have a great day. I look forward to seeing you real soon. Ciao for now.